Let's talk polynomials now. So this one might say to find the product, or it might say to simplify, but whenever I have parentheses next to another set of parentheses, I have to multiply those. So a couple ways you can do this. You can do a FOIL. So you say multiply, multiply, and then another distributive right here, multiply, multiply. Or you can do this with our 4-box. So I have 2 terms times 2 terms. So I'm going to put sum up down the side and some along the top. So my first section right here is going right here. This section right here is going across the top. And we're starting on the outside because these are already our factors. We want to get what that polynomial is inside. So we're going to multiply to each of these sections. So this section right here is going to be this times this. So 8u times 8u, that is 64u squared. And then I've got 8u times this negative 5v, which are going to go right here. And we always put those letters alphabetically. So that is going to be negative 40 uv. Then right here, again, we've got negative 3v and a 8u, so we're going to put those variables alphabetically. So that's negative 24 uv. And then lastly, I've got negative 3 times negative 5, that's 15, positive 15, and v times v is v squared. All right, so you're almost done. It's 64, not negative, that's just a mark where we were saying we were multiplying. 64 u squared. And then on the end, it's 15v squared. But remember when we factor, we break these up into 2 terms, so we're going to put them back together. So combine like terms, negative 24 plus negative 40 is negative 64 uv. So we're not going to touch the exponents at all with addition, only if you start multiplying there. That's all you have to do. So here's your trinomial that would have factored to those 2 factors. All right, our next one. Oops, I don't want to do that one next. Let's do this one next. 2 problems here. One's addition, one's subtraction. You're going to do them the same way. So instead of saying simplify, I could say find the sum, find the difference. Those are the words that mean those things. So we're going to combine like things. So whatever's the same in this parentheses, I'm going to put it right here with that. So I'm going to start with my biggest exponent, which is a cubed. Now I have 1a cubed over here. It's a ninja. 3 of them over here. So add them together, I have 4a cubed. You do not mess with exponents when you add. So leave your exponents alone. Just mess with the coefficients. Next I have this negative 7a squared. And over here I have a plus 2a squared. So negative 7 plus 2 is negative 5a squared. Next thing I see is that negative 8a. I'm going to write it again because there is no other a to go with it. And then over here I have a leftover negative 8. So I'm going to write it finally as well. So this is called descending order. You don't have to put it in that order, but it's considered the most proper. So exponents start big and work their way to none. Our next one, very similar, but before we start combining like things, we need to distribute this negative. So instead of saying minus here, we're going to do a really big boom boom and change all the signs of everything that comes afterwards. So I've got negative 8a to the 4th now, a positive 7a because it was negative, and a negative 4a squared. Now I can put like things together. So I look for my biggest exponent, which they started me with again. And I've got addition now. So 5 plus that negative 8 for my a4s means that I have negative 3 of them. Next biggest exponent is 3, but I don't have any, so we'll skip down to 2. I have negative 4 of them here, negative 4 of them here. So that's negative 8a squareds. Let's look at my a's. Negative 1 of them, ninja, positive 7 of them, so that is 6 of them positively when we're all done. All right, next problem. We're looking at this polynomial, which is division. Now, sometimes I write it out like this, and sometimes, and more likely these days, is to put it in a fraction. So let me rewrite this as a fraction instead. Now, if they have not written the parentheses, so they can do this, make sure you write those parentheses in as well, so that it looks like a factor, because the only way to cancel a factor is to have another factor. So this is a factoring problem. So what you have to do is give me 2 factors and divide by that k plus 3, and one of these factors will cancel with that one. So let's go ahead and factor just the top right there. So off to the side, I know my first term goes in my first blank. My last term goes in my last blank, and it's that middle term that I need to split up. So let's look at A, B, and C here. So Ninja, -7 and -30. Now I need to say A times C, which is -30, and find two things that multiply to -30 but add to -7. So I'm thinking 10 and 3, as long as my 10 is negative, so that when it adds to a negative. If I made my 3 negative, it would add to a positive. So I get to split my k's up right here. And I want to put my -10 with that 30, and that 3 up here with the k. I like my negative with my negative. So I can pull out my GCF to the side, k. They both have a k in common, but no number, which gives me a k and a 3 left over. Ooh, that's exactly what we wanted. Down here, first thing's negative, so I'm going to pull out that negative. Can't pull out a variable here because they don't both have them. So I still have a k and a +3. -3 divided by -10 is +3. So my two factors are out to the side. We've got the k plus the 3, and we've got the k minus the 10. So we see these two are going to cancel because they're exactly the same. So your final answer is just k minus 10.